Explanatory power, leverage, real world, application, symbolism. So to me, that's very nuanced where the different typology go and what they are more focused on. So you can see in my other video that I talk about that. But typology is a meta frame that should be an anchor to build metaphysics upon and build a database upon. So it's fine if you only do the database, and it's fine if you only do the metaphysics. But oftentimes people do too much metaphysics. The database is fucked, or they focus so much on the database. It's like, okay, just the metaphysics can be completely wrong. So just a balance within those. And this field is an interpretation field on steroid. Precisely typology and all that. And so it's normal that I form some understanding based on what seems right and intuitively in the reading sense and non-so-graspable elements. So most typology, they do that. Maybe they have narrowed that with some kind of processes and all that, but still useful to keep in mind to kind of go out of it. But the optimal way to know what is true and objective is to be obsessed about the feedback too. So it's more to, the scientific method and all that, just things that we know, that people know, the scientific method limits and all that. But I think it's really in some fields that are really new. I think it's more to be obsessed about it. It's more that because I do think that most it's more conviction actually at the end. I think that's also the problem with science. People have they are obsessive and they want to push a narrative and it's just a wrong narrative. But I do think that if you're actually very concerned about the truth actually and you're obsessed about it, I think it will be especially in emerging kind of theories and all that. I think that's really where true innovation comes. And fair enough, probably what happened with Da Vinci. So all the different pattern feedback, duality, hierarchy, vertical dimension, cycle, horizontal dimension, fractal, fundamental category, trinity, quadrants, universal, symbolism, dimensionality. So all that, I will talk about that further, some of my videos. And of course, no matter how much you map things directly, reality will be the ultimate judge. So it is more people, patterns, and dynamics that hold up in time that will show themselves to be right. So the theory might want to reformulate itself or have subscale that is more fitting. It is worth keeping in mind that both the data and the theory have limitations, and the balance of the two is the best way to see over time what is accurate. So the map is a useful fiction for the territory. So science is still a map that, yes, is useful, but it's still a fiction for the territory. So okay, it might help us go about certain things, predict certain things, do certain things, describe certain things, but it's still a fiction at the end of the day, in the sense that we still don't know the theory for sure, the territory for sure, and it's still something construct in the mind, even if it's widely accepted, even if it's known, it's still something that we have came up about, and even if it's true in reality, it's still a useful fiction that we told ourselves, because each year it can be even better, can refine itself, it can change. Some things are not changeable, they are really they are right and they will stay right, for the rest of eternity, but it's still how we might explain it is still some in some sense of fictions in our head. So it's really important to realize that there is the experience aspect of our kind of how we deal with science and its application. So there's still the experiential aspect that we might forget oftentimes, that is very important. So I personally see objective personally as the best system out there. I think it cannot be wrong in the sense it is applying a map that is in line with universals. Also, the data line up with it and show patterns that prove themselves to be right. Now there's a blind spot to the theory in the sense that the abstraction and the connection are left behind. So that's a little bit what is missing with OPS. But the abstraction, I think, because the fundamental categories of OPS, tribe, identity, all that, there are so fundamental categories that you don't really need to explain them, in the sense that just the math and that is better than just to formulate a lot of abstraction that don't make sense, or no, you don't need that per se. It's really like the architecture itself that will prove itself to be right or not, and it's so aligned with fundamental categories that I think that it cannot be wrong, in the sense that it will always fit somewhere. It will always be like people will always kind of express those fundamental categories because they can be seen everywhere. So I think that just that by default, so I wrote that there's abstraction is left behind, but I don't see so much abstraction as a problem to do that. So yeah, at the same time, it is best to leave them for the future, meaning the inclusion of abstraction when we have more data and more cognition focus when the cognitive analytics and the neuroscience tested. For me, there are still ways to expand those areas. So yeah, my table pattern that I talk about is an attempt to get more cognitive focus and expand the metaphysics of the definition. It is also worth mentioning that the structure of OPS is more optimal in the sense that it is using binary points, it is highly fractal, and it is tracking motivation, and it is using the double blind test. So I talk about a lot of typology in my previous page, but I do think OPS is the best. So just to say that.